Here we go. Welcome to the latest episode of Making the Case for Your Lawyer Dreams, where it is our goal, it is our purpose, it is our mission to give you guys the tools, the skills, the resources, and the blueprint to learn how to successfully navigate your lawyer journey. It doesn't matter where you are on your journey, pre-law student, law student, recent grad. We want to be the space where you're able to get the clarity of purpose and a clear direction in regards to what you need to do next to take the next step in your journey. I know it's hard. It's hard out in these pre-law streets. But nevertheless, whatever challenge you're going through, whatever obstacle you're currently facing, there's somebody out there who's done it, and we want to make sure that you're able to learn from it. Because just like they won and overcame their challenges and manifested their lawyer dreams, we want the same thing for you. Now, my name is Anthony, founder of BecomingJD. I'm holding it down in Missouri. It's definitely not the place where I want to be. No, sir. But it's the place where God currently has me. Let us know in the chat where you're viewing our session from. And also, one of the things I always do on every show is I make a promise, I make a pledge, I swear before God that I want you to fill our chat box with questions. Because we want to make sure that wherever you are on your journey, you come away fed with a clear path in regards to what you need to do next. So let us know. Don't just watch. Also make sure that you're learning. Thus far, we've had over 85 episodes. And we've had 85 amazing guests. And you know what? We got an amazing guest coming on now, too. To teach you guys, make sure that you learn, and make sure that you understand that whatever delays you're going through, that delay is something that's only temporary. Only put in place to make sure that you're ready for the next step. This amazing sister that we got coming on next, sis went from paralegal to law student to an attorney. And now sis is running her own damn thing. And we want to make sure that you learn that you can do it too. So those struggles, yeah, they hard. But about 6 months from now, those struggles are going to be something of the past. So I see we got ATL in the house. Of course, you got T.I. in the background. That's why I had it home. We also, of course, got Illinois in the house as well. Chicago. So I'm really excited. And in fact, if you want to check out our past episodes, be sure to subscribe to our podcast on YouTube with BecomingJD and check out all our past episodes. Nevertheless, again, I'm excited to have you guys here. So make sure, relax, get comfortable, and get your questions answered. We got LA in the house. We got Jacksonville, Duval in the house as well. So I'm excited to be able to have you guys here today. I'll go ahead and cut off T.I. so y'all can just hear me. I'm going to go ahead and send an invite to our next guest. Make sure, again, you utilize this as a space to get answers. Don't just consume the information, you guys. Use the information and apply it to your everyday life. Because we want you to understand that this journey, you had the dream for a reason. And that challenge is not a sign from God to quit. It's really a sign from God to grow. So let's go ahead and get our guest on. And again, thank you guys so much for joining us. And let's see if I can do this seamlessly. Yeah. The injury. Let's see here. So Takia, go ahead and join the live so I can go ahead and send you the invite. Let's see it. Let's see if I can try again. The injury lawyer. And as we get this process worked out, I also want to remind you guys that I know right now we're going through a process where we have a lot of fairs and forums going on. I want to encourage you guys to step out of your comfort zone, and start the process of getting ready to attend those fairs and forums. I know there's fairs and forums going on all over the country. We know we have some going on in Atlanta next week. I'll be there, so you should be there too, yo. In addition to that, also, this is a prime opportunity, you guys, to make sure that you're connecting with the law schools, because the people who you may be trying to talk to or connect with, they're going to be sitting at tables all over the country waiting for you guys to talk to them. And I want to make sure that you guys are using that as a space to get the answers. Because guess what, fam? Trying to connect with them via via email is not going to be the move. Trying to connect with them, you guys, via phone is not going to be the move. Join the live. That would be awesome. The way to connect with them is going to be live and in person. And so we know that there's going to be fairs and forums going on all over the country. And I want you guys to utilize that space to get some of these questions answered. There are 197 ABA accredited law schools. And last time I checked, fam, all you need is one yes, okay? So I want you guys to make sure that we're making steps positively toward that direction. When trying to manifest your lawyer dreams, it cannot be something that's done passively. It has to be done something where you got to actively move. Because guess what? There's somebody out there that has the same lawyer dream as you. And at the end of the day, fam, if you want it, it comes down to who wants it more. And I want you guys to be able to show them be done in just words. There has to be something that's done in action. So make sure, let's go ahead and get active. What's going on, sis? How we doing?
Hey, how are you?
I am blessed. I don't know if you saw the opening of the show. I had a little ATL vibes, had a little
I
T.I.
was
playing
trying to
in the
get on.
background.
I was trying to get on. Okay,
But
there we go.
nevertheless, I'm so excited to be able to have you here. Of course, Anthony Denmark, founder of BecomingJD. I want to give you the floor to be able to introduce yourself. I saw you in your stories. I saw some random story of yours where you got 2025 Litigator of the Year. And I was like, ooh, I definitely want to try to holler at her and hear her story. So I'll give you the floor. We can take it from there.
Sure. Well, good evening. I am Lakia Shelton, also known as Kia the Work Injury Lawyer. I am a Tampa, Florida native. I attended Florida A&M University, go FAMU, for my undergrad degree, as well as Florida A&M University for my law school degree. I am a double rattler. I have been in Atlanta since 2011. I graduated law school on a Saturday. On a Tuesday, I was waving bye to my parents. I was like, yeah, I'm going to ATL. So I've been here ever since then. I am a wife. I have three beautiful daughters, and I practice in workers' compensation. And just last week, yep, I got the letter from the American Trial Institute about being litigator of the year. I was totally shocked because I was like, what? But yeah, so it's exciting. So that's just me.
Well, I'm so excited to be able to have you here. One of the things I oftentimes love to ask people about, oftentimes people think that because sis got hung on shingle, this joint must have been easy. She must have had the red carpet laid out for her. So she may not understand because I'm going through some real struggles. And maybe she don't understand or can relate. And I love being able to have you guys on this guest because I think one of the things that's being important is once we manifest our lawyer dreams and we're starting to bring clarity to that purpose, it's about also being able to share our journey with other people so they can be like, oh, snap. Shawty from where? She did what? Hold on. She went to where?
Yeah.
Maybe I can do it. Because I think oftentimes on this journey, and I'm sure you can attest to this too, is so many times when we think about what a lawyer is, it may not be something that looks like us. And so oftentimes because of that, the biggest barrier that we oftentimes have to overcome is not the LSAT, not the bar, it's really us. And
Yeah.
so I love getting a chance to talk to you guys because I think that helps normalize the struggle and also helps fill other people's cup to realize, all right, This is just a test. I'm gonna be good. I'm gonna navigate it, and I'm gonna beast it. Takia did it, so I'm gonna be able to understand how to do it too. And so, one of the questions I love always asking you guys, I may show my age a little bit here, but I always ask the question right here, right? It's giving some brown sugar vibes. All right, you ready for it?
Okay, let's
All
go.
right. So the question is this: when did you fall in love with law? Because let's keep it
Why
a
did I?
book, sis. If you don't love this, Joan, we throwing up those peace signs and we're gonna do something else.
No, I actually was finishing the sentence like, when did you first fall in love with hip hop? That's a,
Exactly.
um, I fell in love with law when I was 5. I did not have a plan B. I just didn't. I fell in love with law. I don't remember exactly what I saw or, what I heard, but I was like, oh, I think I'm gonna be a lawyer. And then my life's journey um just kind of led up to that, from like activities in not law school, high school, middle school, and then I can remember going into undergrad, all my friends are having fun. I was like, look, I got 4 years. I can't be in here playing with y'all. I got 3 more years to go. Right. I gotta get out of here. Although I had a great time on the hill, I always I just didn't have a plan B. I didn't want to do anything else. So it was always I was going to law school, and everything in that path led to it whenever I would get in trouble. Everybody had their little teenage years. I would say, well, technically, you know, this. So it was just always right there that it didn't seem impossible, although I may have only known one lawyer. Um, to me, it just wasn't impossible because it was like there's nothing else. Even when
And I
it
think the
came to the
crazy,
LSAT.
and I think the crazy thing, sis, is like I talk to so many different students from different walks of life, and I mean this is 2025. We had we had Lynch be an attorney general. We had Obama. We had so many other people of color be in positions of power. We got Sotomayor on the bench. We got Justice Jackson on the bench. But I talk to so many students, and they oftentimes tell me, sis, that they've never met a lawyer who looks like them. And we're not talking about living in rural areas. We're talking about in metropolitan cities all over the country. And so when you said that part of only knowing one lawyer, it's something that resonates with so many people out there. And I think oftentimes it becomes so important for when people are able to see people who look like them being successful, doing what they want to do, that kind of helps us feel like we belong. That also helps us feel like this is something that becomes more real or more reachable. And so another question I love to ask is, on this journey, man, it's all about growth. It's all about being tested. When you were at FAMU Law School, when did you realize, like, oh snap, yeah, this is still Rattler Pride till I die, but dang, this is a little bit different. I gotta up my game. What was that first challenge where you were like, I gotta make some changes if I want to manifest this dream?
For me, it probably was my first semester in law school. Like I said, I had a great time on the hill. So just a little background. So FAMU, like our undergrad is in Tallahassee, Florida, but the
Mm-hmm.
law school is in Orlando. So it's the same school, but it's just two separate campuses.
Mm-hmm.
So I went into law school with the same mentality that I had in undergrad.
Yeah.
You know, my then boyfriend, now husband, he lived in Atlanta, and I was back and forth between Orlando and Atlanta. I think during the time it was like the BT Hip Hop Awards. I was coming, I was going. Remember, I went on a cruise for a week. And yeah, well, I know law school is a little different now, but in 2009 and 10, we weren't having midterms. You only had one test,
Yeah.
you know. So we had a mock test prepared for, and I did bad. I was like, oh, wait a minute, I'm playing. I'm playing. When I saw the other people coming in with all these books and all this preparation, I was like, I ain't do all that. I barely studied in undergrad. So I went in with the mentality of not knowing this is professional level school. This is like there's nothing higher, unless you get like a LLM. But that was when it hit me that, oh, you playing. Yeah. When you saw other people taking it serious, or for me, like, oh shoot, we only get one test, nothing else, just that one. Like, we don't get no plan A, plan B, just that one test. So it probably was like halfway through my first semester that I was like, oh, this is real. And to God be the glory, I had 3 acceptance into law schools. And I
Mm.
kept hearing people say, oh, I'm only here because this is the only school that accepted me. And, I'm a rattler at heart. I was like, you only here? Like, this your only? And I'm like, I had choices. But then when you hear other people say, oh, I'm only here because this is my only opportunity, I'm going to think you'll be a fool not to realize the blessing and the honor it is to be in professional school. And even though FAMU is a HBCU, the law school was,
About 50-50.
I was finna say, right at that 50-50 level. So it wasn't like undergrad when it's all black excellence and you see people who went, some people went to Yale that was in classes with me. And I'm like, oh, you did this backwards. You should have went to FAM first. I had that attitude, but that's when I realized, like, oh, this is professional level school. There is a certain grit and discipline that's required.
Absolutely. Fear is a powerful motivator. And for you guys who just joined us, we're live in full effect with attorney Takia Shelton, aka the Key Three Workers Lawyer. Yo, check her out. Follow her on IG. She be having some fire reels and everything. But I know fear was a powerful drug for me too. Like I remember I was in law school in New Orleans now. And I'm over here getting ready for Jazz Fest. And I'm going by the library and I'm like, hold on. Y'all not going to Jazz Fest?
Y'all in there for more than an hour?
And I'm like, okay, I'm about to try to go hear Mace and everything else. We are one. Then it hit me. It's like, oh, snap. Like, this is serious. And like you said, because I went to HBCU too, I brought my HBCU preparation or my undergrad preparation to law school thinking it was going to work. And it don't work like that, partner. It don't. But the thing that's amazing is that fear forces you to hold yourself accountable. I know one of the things, Lakia, that I tell people, I said, man, law school ain't really about books. It's really about you learning how to be honest with yourself to say, you can do better than that. You
Mhm.
and learning how to be honest with yourself because for so many of us out there who want to be lawyers, we've been blessed with the gift of gab. We've been blessed with the ability to convince other people. But man, this law school journey, man, is BS proof. It ain't going. If you didn't put in the work, it ain't go. Period. Right. And so one of the things I also love talking about is I want you to tell me about that first time when you had that cold call. Because I think a lot of people out there like, man, the Socratic method. I don't watch some shows. I don't see Legally Blonde. I don't see. How was your go around that first time they called on you? Did you act like you weren't there, or how'd it go down?
I was nervous as heck. It was still procedure,
Mm,
and that is my favorite thing. I love the rules, right? Because I feel like I could slap you in the face with the rules. You got to know the rules.
right.
But I didn't know it, and I was shook. I stood up and I remember, shaking a little bit and trying to recall what I read, but I didn't understand that junk when I read it. So I probably didn't make sense when I was answering the question. But I think if you look back or in a society now when there's so many things that's available, everybody else nervous too. Who
That's
cares?
right.
Like I mispronounced Arkansas on a criminal procedure being called, and I kept saying Arkansas, and I didn't realize it. I was just so nervous, and nobody said anything. And months later, a friend of mine was like, "Yeah, girl, they was talking about you. You said Arkansas." I said, "What's that?" I was like, "Arkansas." She was like, "Yeah, they said you read Arkansas." So I started laughing. I was like, whatever. I was nervous. Y'all know what I meant. Hell, because I didn't even know what Arkansas. So yeah, you nervous. And I think it's so many ways to be prepared now. if I was going into law school in 2025, oh man, bro, I'd be a beast. Like,
And I think, honestly, for so many people out there, we have to learn to be able to give ourselves grace. I think for so many people who are starting this journey, let's keep it a buck. For most of them, they were like us. We didn't study in college. We didn't have to, I mean, we brought our bad habits from high school, elementary, to college. And unfortunately, with college, it worked. And so
yeah.
for a lot of people, they're experiencing having to make changes to how they prepare when it comes to the LSAT, or to our 1Ls out there, learning how to make those changes on like literally under the gun. But it's a process where you have to be able to learn what works for you. Now, of course, I love hearing these stories. I love hearing stories about you guys when you found out that you passed the bar. So go ahead and put us in your shoes/heels. Tell us about the experience. And tell us about when the news came down, the tears, all of it. Let me know.
Oh man. So I actually I'm barred in Florida and Georgia. So I was able to experience that moment twice. Uh so I had like this non-traditional path to even get into the bar. Because right after I graduated, shortly after I got married, had kids, we went into '09, not the '09, like the 2011 collapse and all that stuff. So I couldn't get a job uh, a JD, although I had my Juris Doctorate. So I ended up taking that off my resume, right? And I ended up getting a paralegal job. So this, for anybody who remember 2011, remember houses was going for about 20, 30,000. The economy was horrible. I didn't take the bar right away. So I had the opportunity to go in and really having to submit, to lawyers and working as a law clerk because I had the law degree and having the opportunity to learn. And I remember getting some bosses who came out of law school after me. And you deal with all these internal feelings and shame, or I should be or I could be, but that's really a personal thing because it's all in your head. So when I did go and take the bar, at this point I'm married, 3 kids, all this stuff, working full time still as a law clerk. I remember the late nights and the early mornings, and a week before my exam, I came home and my children, I have 3 daughters, they had posted all these sayings around our kitchen wall. Um, you got it. Back then I used to listen to E.T. the hip hop preacher a lot. They had a lot of his sayings taped on the wall, and I remember just falling in the kitchen like, oh my gosh. So went into the exam with those things. And Florida I took it in July. I think I found out in September. So it's that gap of when you find out. And I'll never forget, I was at work and I couldn't look. And so I told my husband, I said, I want you to look. And so it's really early. I'm at my receptionist desk and I see him come in and my heart dropped. I'm like, oh God. Because I'm thinking he's there to tell me bad news. And he was like, you ready? I was like, no, I'm not. I'm not ready. I am not ready. Then he showed me, and I immediately just dropped to my knees, boo-hoo crying, giving God glory. Tell him, thank you so much. I'm I, it was I was laid out. You hear me? I was on my face and I couldn't believe it. I was like, wow. At that point I had been out of school. I got out of school in 11. I took it in 19, you know, and working full time, running a family, still serving in church, just doing all these things. So I never forget the day I took the test. Well, the first day, my husband looked at me and said, "Hey, your life not gonna change if you don't pass this test. It's just a test." He was like, "Your life ain't gonna change." I was like, "Yes, it is." I'm like, "Yes, it is." But I ain't gonna lie, that did take some pressure off when you realize it's just a test. So I remember that day so vividly. I went to check my kids out of school early. We went to the arcade. We just went and had so much fun because it had been so stressful leading up to that, and I felt like it wasn't just a success for me. I
Mm.
felt like it was a success for all of us because when you have a family, especially, well, I know once we working, people feel it, but I think the bar practice and the everything is so stressful. Everyone feels it. So it felt like an accomplishment for all of us. And then my second time around, which was actually only a year and a half ago when I took the Georgia bar. So then they're older, so everybody's feeling it now because they're a little older. And our
Yep.
Saturdays, and I was in St. Croix when I got the results on vacation with my friends, and I'm telling you, this is when you don't wait and when things happen for you. So for anybody, when you get something, different states are different. Florida, you can pass the bar and not get sworn in. You still have to go through character and fitness. That's a whole nother subject. But in Georgia, you go through character and fitness first. And then once you pass, you can get sworn in. So my experiences were so different. I'm telling you, Friday morning, I found out I passed. I landed back in Atlanta midnight, Sunday night, Monday at 1 o'clock. I was getting sworn in. And I was like, boom. I was like, let's go. I'm ready. It had felt like such this long journey of being a paralegal, passing the bar, and then not even being sworn in right away. Still had to go through character and fitness in Florida. And so it's like you wait, you wait, you wait. And then that Georgia feeling was something totally different than Florida because I knew I had no barrier at that point. Like I was ready to go.
I love it. And I hope you guys out there are listening. I know oftentimes on these journeys, we think that everything is going to be easy. Nah, fam, it's not. But it also makes it, because of the challenges that you overcome, it makes it worth it. And
Yeah.
there's so many people who are going through challenges on this journey. I know one of the things I tell people, man, this lawyer journey, people say it's full of ups and downs. I swear, for God, it's full of a whole lot more downs than it is freaking ups. But it's during it's during those downs that you begin to learn about yourself. You
Yeah.
begin to learn about your tribe that surrounds you, that's supporting you, that's uplifting you. And I know right now there may be parents who may be considering wanting to go to law school. I want to encourage you guys. I went to law school as a parent. She went through as a parent and took the bar as a parent. That go ahead and do it. You don't have to wait. The circumstances, of course, are going to be less than ideal. But one of the things I learned, because, fam, I'll keep it a buck. Everybody else know it. Like, the first time I went to law school, sis, I was dismissed with a .6.
Mm,
No wife, no kids.
you
Jazz hands,
tripping.
right? But second time, I had a wife and 3 kids.
Oh, wow.
And I went straight through, and I did well. Sometimes having more on your plate forces you to learn how to make the most of your time. And I don't know about you, but man, my kids were like my superpower.
Yeah.
Because when I got tired, because when things got tough, I realized like these are the people that are relying on me. And
Yeah.
so if you're out there and you see yourself and you just put your kids to bed, understand it's just something that you can do. You do not have to wait. And I think something that's amazing about what you said, there's a lot of paralegals out there who have dreams of wanting to become a lawyer and have oftentimes doubted themselves. And I think that was so amazing about your story is that you became a paralegal after you went to law school.
Yeah.
And
That
I
was
know
hard.
those are some tough days.
Yeah.
Hey, God, am I on the right track, God? You still here, right?
Man. You don't. I think when you think about the things that are on your plate, whether if you have kids, no kids, or a spouse, or if you're just in a profession where maybe law might be a second profession for you, it's the things that make you want to do it is what has to make you stay, like the outcome. People say Atlanta's not a real place, and I really didn't understand it until June. Is it September, June? I went down to a conference in St. Pete or Clearwater, and I was the only one who looked like me. Um, People thought I was a vendor, and I was like, no. But here in Atlanta, it's normal. You know, it's a ton of black attorneys. It's not a lot of black attorneys in my, in my area of workers' comp, but it's a ton of people who practice law that are African American. And eh, you don't, you can get discouraged when you go other places and you don't see people who look like you, or when you talk about being a paralegal, when I'm listening to somebody and I know you're wrong, right? Because remember, I knew the rules. I know civil procedure. I know you're wrong, but there's a discipline and a pride that you have to swallow, and being able to just humble yourself. I'm like, okay, this is where I'm at right now, but better days are ahead. And I don't know that if I would have got barred right out of school, if I would have had the successful family that I had, I don't know if I would have had kids right away, you know. So on the other end, I can say it now, like, okay, I'm glad it happened, but in the thick of it, child, that don't feel good.
And even though it doesn't feel good, I think the thing that's amazing is realizing that the only way I'm going to make it feel better is I got to keep pushing forward.
Gotta
You got
keep going to the other side.
now, sis. I know I got to ask this question. Now, when how was this? Which swearing-in ceremony was the most lit? Was it the one in Georgia or was it the one in Florida? Tell us
No.
about that, because older now, kids may not be as well behaved the first go around, but now they know what's going on the second time.
So the Georgia, because the thing about it, remember I passed the bar in Florida, but I couldn't get sworn in right away because I
Right.
had to go through keratin and fitness. So I never got sworn in. So Georgia technically was my first swearing in. Man, I told you I was in St. Croix. I called my mom. My mom in Tampa, her my aunt beat me to Atlanta. They they flew in Sunday night. I was still not home. Um, so it was so amazing to have my friends who had been on this journey with me, that we all went to law school together, and they knew my private struggles
Yeah.
of waiting to be cleared for keratin fitness, waiting to be sworn in, studying. They have relationships with my husband, so they knew the toll that it was taking. So they dropped everything. And remember, we had like less than 24 hours notice, and for them all to come out and uh, and connections, right, and relationships, because I was able to pick up the phone and call a judge. Hey, can you swear me in on Monday? And she's like, "Out." No problem. And there were two attorneys in the courtroom. I didn't know them, but she said, "Counsel, do you mind if I stop and pause and swear this attorney in?" And they were like, "Absolutely." Everybody's been there. So that was probably one of the best feelings. Like, you'd be like, oh my God, I waited so long. And I just cried, cried, a good ugly cry too.
Kids being there and then being able to see that. And I think something is just like when you go for your dreams and your children are part of that process,
Yeah.
you realize them being able to go for what they want, giving them the opportunity, what I call is dream unapologetically, dream
Mm,
with boundaries or barriers. And I think something about that makes it priceless. But then the thing
exactly.
crazy is, it's like, so now I'm barred now. When did we go through the transition of going from, I'm practicing, you know, I'm a lawyer now, I'm working for somebody. When did you reach to that transition where you said, okay, now it's time for me to build my own legacy? Now it's time for me to do my own thing. What was that transition like?
Uh, Oh man, that was tough. It wasn't tough as far as the decision. It was tough as actually executing the decision.
Mm,
Um, I'm an entrepreneur at heart, so I knew that that is what I wanted to do. Um, it's just, I was like, oh, do I want to do it right now? Give me a couple years. But I was like, remember, Friday passed, Monday sworn in. What am I waiting for, right? So, but I waited. So that was in April, I think October, July, sometimes when I officially was like, okay, I'm going to do this. And at the time, I was working of counsel at a firm handling their workers' comp. No one else did. And I was like, hey, I'm going to start my own. And one of my closest friends said, oh, he looked at you like you have the audacity.
How dare you? The Caucasian. Did I say that out loud?
Yeah, like I dare you. Um and it was a transition, but I will say that it worked out beautiful. I started my firm with about 30 clients, and just was able to just walk out and like, let's do it, right? You put everything on the table and know that I think my personal opinion is that when you have your license, it's almost like permission to print money or to print whatever it is you're doing. And so I say you don't have to do the traditional thing.
Right.
You don't have to come out, go work for 20 stuff that I thought we had to do.
Right.
Go work for somebody for 10 years. Should you? I don't know. But if you think you can do it, do it. That's what we have malpractice insurance for.
He said that part.
I'm just saying, like, don't let the newness be something that you makes you shy away, I guess.
And I think the amazing thing, and for you guys out there, the reason oftentimes when you take that next step of being able to hang your own shingle, sometimes the same people who were your allies become, it's weird. They become, I wouldn't say your enemies, but they want you to stay in your position because it benefits them. And this is something that not just happens to attorneys when they go out and practice. For you guys who are pre-law students or current law students, oftentimes on this journey, you're going to find people who are going to be there for you. And also, you're going to also realize that there's going to have to be people that you're going to have to kind of let go in order to grow. And since I saw that look, that's the kind of the process.
Yeah.
You tribe, you have your family, but also in order for you to elevate, you're going in that growth season. You're also going to have to let other people go in order to take that next step, because that loyalty that you owe is ultimately going to be to you and to your family, because you don't want to be loyal and broke and not manifesting your dreams because of someone else. But I want to ask you also, like when we hear about, like you said, workers comp, that's not a field that you really hear a lot about. How
No.
in that is you get into workers comp? Where did that vibe come from, sis?
So remember, I didn't go right into it. I got a job at a small boutique law firm. Black woman. She had been practicing. I think she started practicing the year I was born. So she's old school.
Okay.
And I walked in. I told her, and I kind of sold myself like you're getting a paralegal. Wait, you're getting an attorney at paralegal prices, right? That was kind of my selling point because it was true. I came in, she left for 2 weeks. She said, hey, you're hired, start Monday. On Tuesday, she said, hey, I'm going to be in California for 2 weeks, so you got the office. I was like, what? So she's like, we got these workers' comp cases, and I was mispronouncing it, calling it workman's comp. I didn't know what it was. And I got chewed out by this attorney because I didn't know what I was doing. But it motivated me to learn about it because I didn't know. And for you guys who are new lawyers or in law school, one of the first things is a lawyer must make yourself knowledgeable, right? And I know the rules. That the rules are my thing. And so I was like, okay, yeah, I got to be knowledgeable. Although I didn't have a license, so I just started to learn, and I realized that she didn't really know what she was doing either. Um, but I started to learn. I'm like, oh, okay, I get it. I like it. Um, and then I saw that it wasn't a lot of us doing it. And then a national firm, the Cochran firm, they were starting a division here in Atlanta. And so I applied and I went and started up that division at that firm with them. And that was like a dream come true. And I had the opportunity to learn even more. And then you see that although it is a lot of Black attorneys here in Atlanta, it's not a lot of Black attorneys that do that.
Yeah.
Um, primarily do that. And then, of course, when I told you I was in Florida, I was the only person there at that conference. And I was like, okay, cool. So I stuck with it, and then I just really developed a heart for people who get injured on the job, because it's not like a car wreck. A car wreck, it has to be a finite end. You have to get a settlement or no settlement, right? It has to be a decision. And workers' comp, it doesn't. And so being able to walk people through that is what made me stay, and especially to talk to people who look like me.
And I think the thing oftentimes, because for most of our communities where we come from, we don't trust, we don't trust cops, we don't trust police. And we go to the family reunion, go to the cookout. We have auntie and uncle and them talking about they doing this, they doing that, right? We love them, right? But
Absolutely.
I want you to tell me, how was it for you being able to break through that generations of mistrust that people have in lawyers, uh, and really be able to connect with your clients? Because I think, honestly, at the end of the day, those personal relationships end up being the thing that pay the hugest dividends.
I agree. I think how I break through it is I said, I'm gonna take care of you. And I mean it. And I say it just like that. I had a client tell me, Black gentleman, well, I only go to the other lawyers. And I said, okay, I, I don't care. That's your right.
Right.
I said, but I'm gonna take care of you. Plain and simple. A- And he stayed. And I did. So I think that's the set apart piece is just being myself. I'm very just not playful, but I'm not all the time. I'm like, okay, you done yet? They call, they cry, whatever. I'm like, you finished? Okay, this is what we're gonna do. Somebody has to be that even person, and that's me, and that's what I give people. And a lot of times, I say I'm gonna give you my legal advice, and then I'm gonna tell you as if I was talking to my grandma. If it was my grandma, I would say, Grandma, don't have this surgery. You're 65 years old. It's not gonna go well. It's gonna impair other things. So it's those things, because a lot of times I was talking to someone Monday. She reminded me of my grandmother. And I was like, listen, this is my legal advice, but this is Kia talking now. This is what I would tell you. So I think that's important, to just being transparent. I would say that's probably my superpower, just being honest and transparent. Like, look, you finished. It's not finna go how you think it's finna go. You know. So I think people respect that, but then I care, because we're not gonna go all around the bush.
Now, one of the things that happens, of course, once you get licensed, once the cat get out the bag that you're a lawyer, you ain't got no peace going around places. So I want you to tell me about the this place you've been where someone pulled up on you, got the kids, the husband, and everything. You like, what the hell? Tell me about that crazy situation.
There's been church. Um, I was waiting to see you. It's like, oh, okay. How long you been waiting? I was here last week. No, I've been this since last Sunday. Oh, okay. So I would say church, and then probably the hair salon.
Ooh. When you wanted the dryer and you can't leave, oh, snap.
It probably hair. Ain't you? Let me tell you, I got this. Oh, before I can get. Oh, I don't do this. I know their whole life story, their sister, their brother, and their mama and cousin story. And I'm like, hey, I do have someone who does that after they talk before I could respond, right? So yeah, I would probably say church and then the hair salon. It's
Mm,
probably the best.
mm.
And then your family gonna get everybody your phone number.
Oh, my goodness. But I think also one of the things that you touched based on, and I want to kind of rewind because both me and you as HBCU grads, we kind of got, how would I say, we got comfortable with being surrounded and being one of many. You know, it's a comforting feeling,
It's a
right?
great feeling.
It is. It's a nice. I used to tell people, it's a nice fantasy. I wish the whole world were like this. But and the reason why I bring this up is because I know that right now, one of the things I tell people, I love my HBCU law schools. I love the opportunity to be in those comfortable spaces where we feel uplifted. But there are other law schools out there, right? And in the same way for you, when you was in workers' comp, you walked into the conference, you did your count, you're like, damn, I'm only one. What would you tell people who have to, on this journey, you're going to have to learn how to operate being one of you? And I think a lot of people
Mm.
are afraid and they haven't moved forward.
I would say you have to run your race. Um, you have to, just like when you think of people in the lane and you're driving, you have to stay in your lane. Because if you go to the left, to the right, you're gonna get a ticket. So stay in your lane, and at the end of the day, it doesn't matter because when you sit down and take that test, talk to those people, like I tell my kids, they're not thinking about you. They're thinking about they how they feel, what they struggling with. So you have to stay in your lane, and that's something that I had to learn. Although film was a HBCU, remember it wasn't a lot of people that looked like what undergrad looked like.
Yeah.
And so there was some comparison in the beginning. And you're like, oh my God, I don't know this, I don't do this. You just stay in your lane because that's what's really important. Because you're the only person, like you said, it's so much that rides on the other end of you getting to your journey. So if you stay in your lane, you ain't gotta worry about going off the cliff, getting in a car wreck. You just really that tunnel vision. And even once you become an attorney, because you will be, if you start on this journey, you will finish. And if you're in a place that's not in Atlanta or not a popping city with a lot of African American attorneys, I would say the same thing. Even now, I got intimidated Monday. Called an attorney. He was like, "Who are you?" I was like, "Oh, you ain't heard about me yet, you know?" Because remember, my face, my skin, female, in this, I want to be correct. In this, it is a white male dominated area for workers comp, and then just the field of law in general. And then you got a young black girl calling you saying, "Hey, you ain't did this," or I'm not backing down. When you ask me how you come into the field, my first kick in the door the last 6 months was going against somebody who been practicing longer than I've been alive. And he like, "You gonna keep fighting me?" Yeah, I am. Like, what we you told me that you want to take it to court. I said, let's go. And I think that once you, whether in law school, when you get on the end and you get there, don't back down. Sometimes you're going to have to fight, right? Like I had to take on that fight all the way up to the appeals court. And you know who with me? My kids went with me. They went to school late. My husband went. And again, I was the only one who looked like me and to the appeals board. And my 10-year-old was like, "Ma, I felt so honored to see you up there." Like, she was like, "You didn't back down." I was walking in. He was like, "Just tell me a number, whatever number we can just." I said, "No. You told me you wanted to go to court." I said, "Get your chops up. Let's go." I'm scared as hell on the inside, right? But it didn't matter. I'm like, "Nah, get your chops up. Let's go." And I won. But think of what that did for me and for my kids to be able to see that, and for me to be able to talk about it. Yo, he been practicing as long as I've been alive. I ain't even 40 yet. And you thought you could bully me. And was I scared? I was. but it. So ride your lane. I don't care if they don't look like you. If you got red, orange, green, blue hair, ride your lane. You're gonna get in the accident. You're gonna make it to the other end. When you make it to the other end, run. Don't look back. And I promise you, they're not thinking about you. And if they are thinking about you, make them think about you some more, child. Hey,
I love it. She said, "Put your dukes up, cuz let's roll."
yeah.
Now, one of the things I love to do to end our show out is, like I said before, oftentimes, this journey is filled with a whole lot more lows than there are highs. And I know there's people right now, either one, they are on the reapplication tour because of reapplying to law school. Either two, they may be on the verge of being dismissed or they've been dismissed from law school. Or, let's keep it a buck, man. We got a lot of brothers and sisters out there who are back on the preparing for the bar because it may not have worked out the first or the
Right.
second. And so what I love to always do is give you guys the floor to give a word of encouragement. I know Wednesday night Bible study may have just let out, but I want to give you the floor to give those words of encouragement because I think some people out there need to get their cup filled up, sis.
Um, to the person that's reapplying to law school, I just recently wrote a recommendation letter from someone. If this is what you want, don't stop. Don't stop. Remember, it's not always that straight line.
Yeah.
You can run zigzag. That's what you have legs for. So don't stop. I understand. You like, man, forget it. If it's meant to be, it'll be. Lies. If it's meant to be and you keep pushing,
It's gonna
it'll
be.
be. Right? So don't leave your success to chance.
Mm.
Um, no matter what, like don't leave it a chance. And if you're in law school and you are at that probation part, one thing I wish I would have embraced was what worked for me. Use your resources. It's so many things to break down all that convoluted stuff that's in them books, right? Use your resources. It's okay. Don't nobody expect you to sit there and read that whole case book that you don't understand no way. Okay. Use your resources. It's okay because the thing is, and I promise you, other people are too. I never forget it was a girl in my class reading from the book, but she had another book inside of her book. And I was like, damn, how did she get all of that out of reading that case? And then the next time she got to read, she had the examples and explanation book or something inside of her book. And I didn't even know about this book, right? I didn't know about the resources. But if you just was me, I'm like, dang, she got that. Now they're using their resources. So use yours too. And the same thing for that person that take the bar. Listen, it's just a test. It's offered twice a year. You learn to take that test. Because remember, it's only so many ways they can ask you all them random behind questions. There is, I would say take a bar prep course. Do not do it alone. People that's my personal thing. And I've taken multiple bars. Take a bar prep course. And it's just a test. You can conquer the test. And if you feel like you're not a good test taker, work it like a job. 2 weeks leading up to the bar, I took a full bar exam every day. You know. So it's just a test. You can do it. So that was to the person reapplying, the person in school, and the person taking the bar.
And at the end of the day, y'all, it comes down to this: understanding that God gave you that dream for a reason. And that dream, of course, that mean it didn't include. There's no easy button, but it's still something that can be done, and it will be done. And the only way it's going to be manifested is by you choosing to go ahead and move when it hurts, to move when it's silent, to move when it's tears,
I
to
got a
continue.
button for you. Hold on. Where is it? Oh, here.
Y'all, dream is going to come true. Kia, sis, I want to thank you so much for coming on to the show.
You just said something. I got to say that was easy, right? So when you do the hard thing, you have after you do it, you have to hit the that was easy button. right? And then you just keep going, and then the next one you'll hit it, and you're like, okay, that was easy. So you look back and you know that it's easy. It's not easy while you're doing it, but it's easier to give up.
And when all else fails, she took it back to to go ahead and put them dukes up. Let's roll, right? So, Kia, thank you so much for joining us for this show,
You're
sis.
very welcome.
And I hope you guys out there have been able to feel inspired and are ready to take on this challenge. We are praying for you. We're rooting for you. We want you to win. Holler at her.
Yes.
You are not alone in this journey, sis. Thank you so much for joining us for
Thank
the.
you.
And you guys continue to fight for your lawyer dreams. And we'll see you the same time next Wednesday at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. Thanks, Kia.
Bye bye. Thank you. Bye bye.